Good morning, everyone, and happy Friday to all of you. I hope that you all have had a wonderful, blessed, productive week. Not busy, but a blessed, productive week, because it's better to be productive than just busy. Just a
I
little.
know that's right.
That's a little note from the books of Iris D. Owens. So good morning again. Welcome to the Autopsy of Her, Healing, Evolving, Resiliency. We're going to jump right in. But before we do that, I'm going to welcome and say good morning to my beautiful sister and co-host. Good morning, honey bunny.
Good morning, anybody. How you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm great. I love your background. That is fabulous.
Oh, thank you. I'm trying. Listen, I'm so happy. You know, I don't like hot weather. I like the warm weather, but I don't like hot weather. So I have to think cool thoughts and wear cool clothing in order to keep this body from becoming a raging inferno when I go outside. Today it's gonna be like 90 degrees.
It's gonna be 90 degrees here on Sunday.
Yeah.
So now it's gonna be 96 degrees.
Oh gosh. Yeah.
Outside at my daughter's graduation.
Oh, yes. Happy graduation celebration. But it's gonna be hot.
She did it. Everybody says, I'm so happy for you. I said, I'm happy for her because she did the work.
Yes, amen. Amen.
Gave her the tools to help her, get there, but she did the work and she's very much in it. We were at the mall yesterday getting her shoes and ran into another young lady and she was talking. She said, so these girls get ready to go to college. And so she was like, she's like, it happens fast. I was listening to how she was speaking to her.
Right.
And she's like, my friend, she just going back to grad school. She said, well, I'm in the graduate program. She's very happy for herself, which is really important.
It's exciting it's very exciting. And before we jump in, this is all kind of culminating up to what we're going to talk about today. So today we're going to discuss how to turn on a dime. And I'm sure many of you have heard that term before, how to turn on a dime, because life is rapidly moving every second, every minute, every nanosecond. It's moving so rapidly. And so we are now having to figure out, like, during COVID, and we discussed this before, the super word was how to pivot, right? Mm-hmm. So we don't want to use how to pivot. We are talking about the old school, how to turn on a dime, because it really is every moment, every second from the time you wake up in the morning, you're on, right?
Literally.
I don't know about you. It depends on, and it also depends on what you do as a living, right? Mm-hmm. But I know that what I do for a living, what Steph does for a living, what we do in between what we do for a living, i.e. motherhood, all of our other things pots that we're stirring all at the same time. There are days that you come home and you're thinking to yourself, I'm exhausted. I am completely exhausted from turning on a dime, because it becomes where sometimes you're moving so fast, you forgot what it was that you were supposed to be moving so fast to.
Exactly.
Let's start there. You forget what it is that you were in full 1,000 nanosecond movement, and you get to a spot and then you stop. Right? And you're like, what was I doing? What was I getting ready to do? We operate as if, I think a good comparison is like our phones, right? Our phones are like a mini computer in the palm of our hand.
They are a mini computer, literally.
Right. And they are a mini computer in your hand. And so you put all your data in that phone, right? Your contacts, your meetings, your notes, your calendar, your important dates, everything you need to do, right? Your appointments, your documents, if you, depending on what you do, if you have to send documents between yourself and your clients, like we have to do
contracts, right?
Contracts, amendments, all that stuff is in this phone, right? The phone is your walking computer. And I think that we use our bodies as if it is a walking computer, because it does. It stores a lot of data, right?
Yes, it does.
But the difference between us and a phone, and maybe there's not a difference now that I think about it, your phone will start to slow down. You ever realize that? And you go, what's wrong with this phone?
Memory.
Right? What's wrong with this phone? Or you get a note from your provider that says, your storage is completely full. Please either delete files, delete duplicate files, or archive some of your files. Now let's think about that as it relates to us as human beings. Can we delete some files?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Can we delete duplicate files?
Oh, definitely.
But I will say about duplicate files, but sometimes I think we don't just have duplicate. Hell, we got triplicate, quadruple.
Yep.
Files of some things, right? That need to be purged. And then there are those files that we need to archive. And so in all that, how do we turn on a dime? What does that look like? What does that look like for you, Steph? When you say, I have to learn how to turn on a dime, what does it look like?
Well, it looked like my daughter's graduation, dinner this weekend. That's what it looked like for me. Because no, we weren't, because she is going to be graduating next year with her master's. So she's like, I don't really want anything big right now. I really have something large, next year,
right,
when I get my master's. So we're just going to have a small, dinner at a restaurant in Harlem, because she's in Queens. People coming from New Jersey, people in the Bronx. So Harlem was better, because Queens, to get into Queens is a whole nother story. It's easier to get into Harlem than get into Queens.
Absolutely.
And so I said, it's like, that makes sense, because they only give you 5 tickets. Only 5 people go to the actual graduation.
Yes.
So, just kind of arrange all of these things. And then the plans got changed, and it was like, oh no, let's do something like at your house. I'm like, my house? And I'm like, I'm still, I just moved in July.
Right.
I'm basically kind of got an empty house, and and it's empty by choice. But I had like a lot of stuff in the garage. So now I've been pulling out furniture, pulling out lamps, moving tables, doing all this stuff. Things I hadn't planned on doing.
Correct.
You know what I mean? Because I'm very much a planner. And, I can turn on a dime. That's why I can get it done so quickly. But I like to know what I'm doing so I can pace myself.
Yes.
And now, like, I'm feeling now, my allergies, everything's bothering me. But I was able to get some things. I was able to get actually a lot of things accomplished. I don't have any chairs, but I do have sofas. So we'll be sitting at sofas.
Yes. Yes.
But we got to make it work. I mean, the blessing that came out of that is that, we were having like 15, 17 people. Now I have like 25 people. It's still going to be very small, very intimate. And, it's just, we could really hang out for 4 or 5 hours. So that's the blessing that came with that,
Right.
But I could tell you that I was not ready to entertain a crowd of people.
Right.
I wanted to have some more furniture.
and I want, but then I want to ask. So you mentioned it a few minutes ago. What do you think were some of those? What has affected you because you had to turn on this dime in this short period of time? What are the effects of it on you?
It's the time. Like not really having enough time, like I would want to. I had to like literally start. Okay, I got when it finally came down, so I had Tuesday, a little bit Tuesday, but Wednesday, Thursday to really get some things done, and then Saturday. So and get I don't think I'm really gonna get that much done today because I have to actually go to the store today. So it came with time. But if I knew, I would have been doing it all along. But it's so funny. I must have known something because I had the cleaning lady come last week. I said, I just need you to do my floors. And she came and did the floors. So like that was all done. Right. And because I don't have furniture, it wasn't a lot to do. But it was just certain things. But for me, it's in a good way. because it's like, okay, so now you can have things set up a little bit more, even if you didn't get like the sofa, like all the stuff that you wanted to get yet, you can
Right.
still use what you have. Because I was able to get, when my sister said she was coming over to spend the weekend, I got ceiling fans, I changed this, I want, but it made me do it. You know what
Right.
I'm saying?
Right.
So this, like I was getting like some nice shears in my living room because I wasn't sure what color I want to put there. I wanted to just put something there. And like nobody had the long shear, whatever. But when I had to turn on a dime for this dinner, I went to one store and found exactly what I was looking for.
There you go.
What I'm saying? It was like, yeah, they probably have 95 inches was what I needed,
Right.
95.
And isn't
And
it interesting how it worked out that way, right?
what did it not work out?
Yes.
Okay, so it was like it was there. When this, I had that table, or I had those lamps, and I knew the lamps, but I wasn't going to use the lamps until I got the new furniture. But they
Right.
still work somewhat with this. It's
Right.
always white furniture. I just wanted some furniture with color. But yeah, so at least my family room is done. Basically, I just wanted to get a carpet. But other than that, it was the living room and the dining room that I was still like working on. I had my dining room table. I just only had 2 chairs. I just didn't have the chairs.
Right.
And so, but we will figure it out. Now we don't need chairs at the dining room table because I'm gonna put all the food on the dining room table and we're gonna sit on all these couches.
There you go.
The rest is like, well, we gotta
So,
buy some chairs.
but what do you think it creates for you when you do have to do a turn on a dime, when it wasn't a part of your already plan, right? What does it
Momentum.
do to you psychologically, emotionally? What does it do?
It creates momentum. Yes, and that momentum is like this. Like, okay, I got this, this. You're just on point. You know what I
Right.
mean? I got the
Right.
cake, I got this, got that. But you just gotta like, all the things that I had no interest of doing, having the food caterers, had to get the food, you know what I
Yes.
mean? And so had no intention of doing any of those things.
Right.
But
Right.
got them all in place, so there we go. What are you gonna do?
Right.
Now they can't even
Right.
deliver the food to me. I gotta go pick the food up because we're out of the radius and all this kind of stuff.
Oh my.
But giving
Right.
myself time. And then the good thing too is that her graduation is at 10 o'clock in the morning.
Awesome.
But the dinner doesn't start until 4.
Okay, good. So you have time to get everything together. And
So I have time
so,
to get out of Queens. I'm thinking like I just gotta
well,
make sure
that
I get
too. This is true.
out. I had to
So,
basically everything set up before I leave and get out of Queens.
so with all that said, though it didn't, you didn't allow it to become what sometimes what we do is when a surprise comes upon us, something that we had not planned, we allow it to become an inconvenience. So I think it's
Exactly.
the way you think about when you have to turn on a dime, right? Because if you look at it as a complete challenge, like this is the worst thing that could happen at this particular time right now, it becomes more difficult to process, to get it together, to do what it is that you need to do, because now you're caught up emotionally in how am I going to even make this happen, because you just can't visualize how it's going to happen and that it's going to be a good thing when it does happen.
Exactly.
You said something really profound, that you really appreciate the fact now that it's going to be more intimate. You get to invite more family. You all get to be together. And I think, those are things that sometimes we forget, even in the midst of what seems to be an inconvenience, how it becomes a great thing, a
Well,
great
you have to take
opportunity.
something bad, like or something like you said, might not say bad, inconvenience. First of all, a challenge could be a good challenge, which I
Absolutely.
always try to make that for me. But
Absolutely.
never forget, like with my company, I have an RVP, and he would say to me, he said like if you on your way somewhere and you're already running late, and all of a sudden you get a flat tire and you're so frustrated. He
Mhm.
said you have to think that if I was still moving, maybe I would have had a car accident, something would have
Mhm.
happened to me. It was to slow you down, and you have to look at it and turn it and make it into a good thing. And
Yes.
that's what we do have to do with life challenges. But I could see things, and I'm an artist. So I'm a creative, so I could visualize things. So some things become really easy for me in that
Right.
aspect,
Mhm.
because I'm an artist. But you do have to do those. It's like life. It's anything. I mean, it's like my son was supposed to be born on, well, his due date was June 18th because I needed a C-section. They were taking him on June 4th,
Mhm.
but he came on May 25th.
You see? And to me, so, that just goes to show things that we think we have control over, we do not.
Exactly.
For those who say I'm an expert, and you are an expert in this thing that you do, right? You're an expert. If you're a doctor, you're an expert in whatever your specialty is as a doctor, right? If you're a professor, you have whatever it is that you teach, you're good at that. If you make things, you grow things, you produce things, you're a specialty at that. But the one thing I think we always have to remember is that time waits for no one.
No one.
Right. And then there are certain things that occur in life that really, no matter how much we think as human beings, we can measure and we can predict. Birth is one of those things.
Yes,
you can sit there and they could tell you this calendar date, and that's lovely. Lovely. Because but birth, having a child, that is, if you never had a turn on a dime moment, oh my God. It is because I think most women, right? You are once from the day you find out that you're pregnant and you're having a child, you start putting together nursery, you start putting together the theme, you start, if you find out the sex, you're buying outfits, you're buying clothing, you got all this stuff in place, right? For this arrival, you're waiting for this special package to be delivered. And all of a sudden, the delivery date changes, but no one sent you a notification.
Exactly. My doctor told me I went for a checkup. He said, "Oh, you're 3 centimeters." I'm like, what?
Right? See, that's what I'm talking about. I remember clearly with my son going to the doctor, and she said, "I'll see you next week." And I said, "No, you will not." And she said, "I'll see you next week." And we went back and forth with this thing. And I was, for some reason, I don't have any way of knowing, but I just told her, I said, "I will see you next week."
But when you start nesting, it's something inside of you. You have an idea.
But I don't even think I was nesting. And my mindset was that I was determined that I was not coming back to this doctor on another Friday. I was just determined that I was not. Yes. And so I left the doctor's office and I went, and it was hot. My son is born in August, right? August 12th. So it's hot. And I'm walking around the park, and I don't even have on walking shoes. I have on my regular little flat walking shoes. They weren't flat. They were some cute slide backs with the strap on the heel, tie on the front. I was cute. Anything in my life is gonna be cute. So it was cute, but it was hard bottom shoes. I remember that, and I had on this beautiful what do you call it? Seersucker maternity dress, and I'm walking around the park, right? And I'm walking, and I'm just walking. I'm talking to myself, and all of a sudden, Rondell put either his foot or his elbow in my rib cage. And I remember thinking, oh, okay, walk over. Like that was a turn on a dime moment, because I was determined I was going to walk around this park and walk him out. Oh my. He was like, "No, I don't want to do that." So he put his foot or his elbow, but it was, I was like, okay, walk over. I go back to my car. I go to my car and I go home. No, I go to my car and then I go to my nail appointment. And I finished my manicure and my pedicure. And I remember getting in my car, and I remember sitting in the car, and I felt this warmth in my seat. But again, I'm saying it's August, so it's hot. But I'm not paying attention because I smudged my toe as getting in the car. So I'm so busy, like, I can't believe I smudged my toe. Blah, blah, blah. My water had broken. And so by the time I drove up the hill to my house from the nail salon, from the main street to my house, and I step out, the water broke, and I was like, oh, okay. So time over, whatever plans I had, done, right? I walk in the house, I tell Ron, "Hey, water broke." He goes, "Oh," he runs back up the stairs, and we on our way to the hospital. I think it's moments.
Where did you have Rondell at?
At Hackensack.
Okay, no, because I had
At Hackensack
Savion
Medical.
and Holy Name.
Okay, no, Hackensack Medical.
Because
And
it's right there.
so so that taught me right there in life that, and then after having this human being, right, you have no control over what this human being does. Absolutely none. I think that is one of the first places that you realize you do not have control. You are not in control. No, your best laid out plan. You have the diapers stacked, so you know where to get the diapers and the powder and the you know, the bacitracin, whatever it is you need. You have it, the washcloth, the wipes. And then your child rolls over and pees in the air, or kicks the poop out of the diaper. What? So now you holding the baby, you trying to pick up the mess. Life goes crazy. Those are one of the first moments I think you learn how to turn on a dime. Or, right? You're in a situation where, again, you have planned this thing, executed, and now you're stuck in traffic. For the biggest interview in your life, you left home an hour early, but there's an accident. Now what?
Exactly. It's true, though.
There are these moments in life that we have to learn. These things are going to happen, even in the well executed. And so I'm learning to, because I am one of those people, I plan, but I'm also that person who will think that I have all this extra time between events, right? Between occurrences. So I'll schedule myself back to back on stuff. And then I'm running, you know, I'm running late to something, or I'm spinning on two wheels in the parking lot to be on time. And so something I realized is that I am now learning that I should schedule my stuff an hour in between. Like leave myself 30 minutes to an hour in between every appointment. It just works better that way, because it gives me a moment to sit down, you know, in between, or to drive to a place to the next appointment in some sort of peace and process.
Yes,
process what I just did or what I'm going to do.
Or you don't have to schedule everything on the same day. Like I have learned to spread things out. That's to over like tax myself. You know what I mean? So I like the whole, I had to like just fall back on all of that. I can't just be because after me ended up in ICU, I don't do that no more. But because you will burn yourself out in that way, you know. But look, think about this though. Think about how your life had to turn on a dime because both of us, you know, being divorced women, we never thought that. You know, absolutely. I never imagined at this stage in my life I would be single again.
Absolutely.
So that's all, like, you know, I was having a conversation with someone. It's like when your life is just changed. Like sometimes people's lives change overnight. And it's like, it's not because I get it. Like when you be like, why she didn't leave or why he didn't leave, whatever the situation was, because no one wants to uproot their life.
Absolutely.
But when your spirit is uprooted, you know, from whatever the situation was, that's the life uprooting is going to come right behind it.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, so, you know, and it usually happens in some situations. It has happened like literally overnight. You know what I mean? You come in, you know, you catch your spouse in bed with somebody else, you know. You know, you came home, you're getting ready to go to your friend's 30th wedding anniversary, and you think you're coming home and he's waiting for you or she's waiting for you. All you have to do is take a quick shower and get dressed, and they're in the bed with somebody else.
Right.
Boom.
Or they tell you on New Year's Eve,
they tell you, I no longer love you. I want you. Exactly.
Yes.
Right, exactly. But then there you go. Your life is just in that moment.
Yes.
You have to turn on a dime. The life that you've known for 25, 30 years, 40 years is done.
Yes.
Like, and you know, is it easy? No, but people do it every single day. They're like, you know, the phoenix, they rise from those ashes. And it's like, okay, time to recreate, time to turn on the dime. I got to keep moving. Especially when you're talking about you still got children in play, or God forbid something happened with your child and you're raising your grandchildren, you still got to make it all work.
Right. But remember, you still got to make it work for you. Even if there's not anybody else, You got to make it work for you.
Oh, definitely. You still got to make it work for you. You cannot. And I do know people too that has not been able to move out of certain spaces.
Yes.
Which you feel for them, because it's like you cannot just you staying in that space doesn't mean that's going to bring that person back.
No.
Or that situation back, or to live in that time, because every day life changes. It's like I enjoy, having my children, raising my children. Would I want my children to stay in a state of a baby all the time? No.
Absolutely not.
Like, so you see them grow, you see them change. Now I have two grown people, he's gonna be 20, next week. My daughter's 22. So your life changes as they change, as it should though. I think some people don't think your life should change, and your life should change, because whether you do notice or not, like you said earlier, your life is ever changing every second. Like even when you think like, oh, every morning I get up and I get up, eat my oatmeal and blueberries. Okay, but I ate oatmeal and blueberries yesterday, but it's not the same as the day before I ate my oatmeal and blueberries. It's a new day, it's a new time. Things have changed just in that 24-hour period.
Right.
In your mind, it may seem the same, but it's really not the same at all.
No. And we have to remember that the life is evolving. It's like how the earth rotates, right? Life rotates. Life is not a standstill moment. Ever. And even the best of things that we love, it's always good for some sort of change to happen. Sometimes you pray, we pray for always that it's always a happy change, but sometimes even a negative change comes about to help us move out of a place of comfort that maybe we shouldn't be comfortable in. And I know that sounds like a lot, but I'm saying sometimes we think that life is grand on this side of the fence, right? Not realizing that we have not even crossed over the other side because we're so busy saying, I'm good right here. And we're missing all the other stuff that's on the other side of the fence that we refuse to cross. Because we don't want to change.
It's so complacent.
Right. It's so good right here. Why would I do that?
Yeah. But that's just like when we go to Savannah. I've been going to Savannah for Christmas since forever. Okay. Been in Savannah. I started going to Savannah when I was an infant. First time me traveling to Savannah by myself on a plane, I was 2 years old. And now the landscape is so different. We have some things that are the same, but it's a lot of things that have changed.
Yes.
At that time when I was there, it was my mother and all of her siblings. It was, 12 of them. Well, not all of them, because one of them even passed, I think, before she was born. But it was 11 of them, they were all alive. And now we're down to 2. Even when my mom passed, it was like, how do I go to Savannah? How to like my mom's not there anymore. It was a whole big change for me. And still showed up for Christmas. It was just different, different, even I had to change. And what I ended up doing was, I didn't keep my mom's house. So I wasn't staying at the house. So then me and my kids started staying like downtown, doing like the whole tourist thing. So that was a different thing. And it was good for them, because they could walk downtown, hang out, stuff like that.
Right.
So I made a change, it didn't have to be the same. But then I go back to the neighborhood because, like my mother, my 2 aunts, they all lived on the same block. Then you went to the next block and my other 2 aunts lived over there. But then like so my aunt, she passed. So, and then my other aunt, she ended up, staying at my grandmother's house. It's her house now. And so that's been always, so that's the thing that stays the same. We always have Christmas dinner at that house.
Right.
So it's still okay. But what I had to do, so when I would go that side, I would go and always drive by my mother's house, look down the street for it, whatever. And then my cousin called me and told me the house caught on fire last week.
Oh, wow. Yes.
Yeah. And I felt a ways, like I was like, wow. I don't think I mentioned it to the kids, but I was like, wow. Because at one point I was thinking like, maybe I should buy the house back again, but I'm like, I want to buy in Savannah, but I'm not going to buy there. I'll buy
Right.
in another town. But it was just like, it felt like, wow, that's like the final ending.
Right.
And I never forget, my son got the Oculus, and we put the
Mhm.
Google Maps for our mother's address in it. And this is after she passed. And I saw her car in the driveway, and so I knew she was home. I was in tears.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it
Wow.
was deep. I was like, oh my God, mama. Like, she's in the house. I know when they took
Yes,
this picture,
yes, yes,
it was just amazing. You know what I mean? And it was nice to be able just to see that for a moment. But you
yes.
cannot live in the past. You have to move forward. And
Nope.
what's so sad about it? A lot of people do. Some people are still like living, like, it's an analogy, but living in that basement with that 70s furniture.
Yes,
They
this
don't
is
want to
true.
barely go on and walk up those stairs. You know what I mean? They're
Yes.
like, no, I don't want to see anything that's out there. And it's, you're missing a whole bunch of things.
Yes. And
A whole bunch
it's the and so funny that you say
here.
so. Death is one of those things that we do have to learn how to turn on a dime.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, we don't have any control over when someone's born into this world, and we have no control when someone leaves this world. And these are people who formulated our lives, our mothers, our fathers, our sisters, our brothers, our cousins. All those people help us become who we are, right? Like you went to Savannah every year of your life, and I went to Charleston, South Carolina. And so when I go to Charleston, South Carolina, yes, I can go there, and it's nostalgic for me, right? Because I can remember all of my summers as a child and sitting on that porch with my grandmother and all my grandmother's sisters and my aunts and cousins, and just sitting out there all hours of the night. Like, I always tell people in New York City, I couldn't stay outside until, when the street light came on. I was upstairs. That was even if I got to go outside, right? In South Carolina, there was freedom, because as long as my grandmother and my grandfather were outside, I was outside, right? We had the ability to run around, play in the ditch, catch tadpoles, be outside, running around, riding bikes in the dirt road. Life was no limit, right? There were no limits. And I think sometimes we have to realize that when we lose people or we lose things, yes, we relish them, but we have to learn how to release them at the same time to be able to move forward.
Mm-hmm. It's true.
Because you are amongst the living. Life is for the living. Life is for those who are here, breathing, walking, talking, and to move forward, to evolve, to resolve, to get past, to move into different waters, to test different territories. And a lot of times when we lose people, we stay stuck in the loss, and we don't focus on how much we gained. Like, right? Like when we lose a parent, it is devastating, because those are the first two people, or however you grew up, who showed you love and nurtured. They are the people who formulated how you see love, how you see caring, how you see love. They are those people. But when they are gone, some of us get stuck in, I can't do anything. That's not what life is. And that's not what your parents poured into you. That's not what they poured into you. They poured into you to live the best life you can live, to be happy, to be joyful. And if you know that your parents loved you, right, you know that they're watching over you. They're watching over you.
Yeah.
They come to you in times of trouble, and they whisper, or something happens that you're like, wait a minute, how'd that happen? So between God working it out and your parents being the angel over your life is good. It's good. And we got to learn how to see death as it is a loss, but it is also a gain. It's a gain, because now you have a greater appreciation of people when they're gone. You do. You know that's true, because when an artist dies, this artist sucked
all his work,
as an artist, all his work. But the minute that person dies, oh my God, you become worth millions. That's how we have to look at it when we lose someone we love. Their memories and what they taught us is worth millions. Mm-hmm. Think of it that way.
Give people their flowers while they're alive. Like my son sent me roses for Mother's Day. I was in tears.
They were beautiful, and they were beautiful.
Because I was because he was on his way home. We had just spoken. He was coming home from school, you know, for the summer. And when I saw the box, I thought they were from my sister.
Yes.
And then when I opened it, I was literally on my way out the door. And I had to call him. You know, he's in California. He was still asleep. I was like, baby, you know, like this. Yeah, I was so filled.
It was beautiful. It was beautiful.
It was beautiful. It was beautiful. But you have to tell people how you feel about them, you know. And I love you. You know me, I'm the love bug. And everybody's like,
me
oh
too.
my God.
That's why we get along so good.
It's true. Yeah, it's true. It's true. But you know, because some people aren't just like that. You know what I mean? But you do have to express your feelings, you know, and it's important because you got to tell them now. You got to say what's on your heart. You know, sometimes like I say, I appreciate you. I appreciate our friendship, our relationship. Yes. And you just have to tell people how you feel. Yes. And some people are scared that I'm never afraid to tell you how I feel about you.
Absolutely.
Never. And that's important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think that's part of one of the reasons why when we was talking about, you know, knowing how to turn on the dime, because life is fast moving. If what's that word? It's fluid. Every second, every minute, every day, every breath is not guaranteed.
It's not. Let me tell you.
Every exhale could be the last.
Exactly.
So live life with
well, you gotta live for today.
Power.
Yeah. Tomorrow's not promised. Let tomorrow take care of tomorrow. You have to focus on now.
Right.
You know, people are like, oh, I'm gonna do this tomorrow. I'm gonna do that tomorrow. I'm gonna do this next week. You don't know what you're gonna do. You know, you plan, but you don't inundate those plans. Like that's, you know what I mean? Because you don't know. You really, really don't know. I know people all the time. And just today, for instance, all the people that planned on waking up this morning, they had plans this weekend.
Yes.
And they did not wake up this morning.
Yep.
Now their family is planning their funeral.
Yes.
You know, because that's just how life is.
Yes.
So you got to say it, right? Because you never know. And, you know, tomorrow's not promised to any of us.
The rest of this day is not promised.
No, it isn't. Some people leave home and never come. When you come back in your house after you've been out there, you know, doing everything you had to do to accomplish today. When I come back home, like, thank you, Jesus, I made it back home. Yeah. You know what I mean? Safe and sound. Because some people did not make it back home safe and sound.
Right.
Like those people like in Buffalo, New York. Grocery store.
I'm buying groceries.
I'm buying groceries, you know, and maybe, you know, if you live really, really close to a grocery store, you had your oven warming up because you went to get something to make a cake. Oh yeah, I'm running right to the store. I missed one of my ingredients.
Yes.
Not knowing that you was never ever gonna return to your home. You know. So and it's true, and that is really how it happens. And it's happening like more and those kind of things are happening also, which is very devastating. You know, people taking people's lives. So
and sometimes things just seem to like, you know, Steph, you know, I think I shared some episodes ago, you know, that I'm allergic to bees, got stung by a bee and had a really awful, you know, anaphylactic reaction and, you know, recovered and was fine. So today is Friday. So I'm sitting in my house on Wednesday afternoon and I was sitting on my sofa, I was trying to take a little quick nap in there and the phone rang and I answered the phone and then I went to adjust myself on the sofa. You know how you put your elbows down and you push yourself up, getting comfy, right? And so I felt this pop. I felt something like pop, like crunch under my elbow. And so I had been eating some chips. So I'm, shh, I'm supposed to be eating chips. I was eating chips.
You know what? Get the tiny bag.
Yeah, it wasn't a tiny bag, but I was eating chips. So I thought that maybe one of the chips had fallen, onto the arm of the chair, and that's what I put was under my elbow, because I felt the twist on my flesh. And so I said, okay, so now I'm looking, but there's nothing there. I don't see anything. And so I'm still rubbing it because my skin really felt pinched, thinking this is so weird. Well, then it started to get hot. So getting hot means that was not a chip. Something stung me, and I didn't see what stung me. So as I'm sitting there, my elbow's getting hot, I shift myself a little bit, pull up the cushion, and there is a big, huge red wasp that had stung me. So apparently the wasp was sitting on the chair, or the wasp had just landed next to me. And when I went to move, the wasp stung me and I crushed it and it fell into the chair. So as a result, I end up back at the hospital. I have a big swollen elbow.
EpiPen.
I have a Popeye elbow, y'all. I don't know if you can see this. It's red, it's inflamed, it's ugly. I had to shoot myself with the EpiPen. I think that was the worst of all. You should have seen me in my living room doing like the, Muhammad Ali shuffle. Like, come on, girl, you can do it. You can do it. You can do it. Come on, you guys should. And I'm like, okay, yeah. I was like, I'm gonna do it. And I'm like, no. I'm trying to tell you, that moment of having to turn on a dime. Whoo! I was literally talking to myself. Now think about this. I'm allergic to bees. I have to now carry an EpiPen. I have to stick myself with the EpiPen after being shot. If that's not what turning on a dime is, and now this is a life or death situation. So really at this moment, I'm up here shadow boxing to talk myself into why I need to shoot myself with this EpiPen. But I had to do it. And I did it. And then I sat there and pondered about, they say you should go to the hospital. I don't want to go to the hospital.
Yeah, but you should have been pondering about.
I should, and Steph is absolutely correct. I shouldn't have been pondering on it. So learning how to turn on a dime is that that means also accepting the reality of situations in our lives. And the reality of that situation was, I'm allergic to bees. That means I could die from a sting. And it's not just bees, anything that has a stinger, I'm allergic to. So when I shot myself, my first reaction, before I even got there, I was pondering about even using the EpiPen. I should not have been pondering, because those moments could have been very deadly to me, right? Exactly. Because if my throat had closing up, or my heart started racing, I would not have even been able to shoot myself. Exactly. So the whole thought of learning how to turn on a dime means that when you know what needs to be done, right, in those situations, the pondering is that's not where you're pondering.
Oh, no, not at all.
You need to make a decision, make the turn, swiftly make the turn, hit it, and do what you need to do to execute whatever it is that needs to happen. And that's really what it means, is to learn how to turn on a dime. Is that you know what has to be done, go ahead and execute it, hit it, and then move.
Yeah.
Because sometimes the pondering is what causes us to be in situations that we can't turn anymore.
It's so true.
That we're afraid to turn anymore. And we cannot be afraid to turn, because we make turns on things that there was no turn. It was straight. There was no left, there was no right. We created a turn.
The destination is a straight line.
The straight line.
You have to turn on a dime. Like, I want to avoid this traffic. My son and I, we was coming back from somewhere. We traveled and going, and we had to take the back roads. Yes. I mean, the fastest way is the straight, but you got I got to move. I can't sit in the traffic now.
Right.
We got to keep moving.
Right. So that's our lesson for you all today, right? It is it's just, you got to learn how to turn. You got to learn how to take that turn on the dime. Because the dime sometimes is that 10 second, that 10% could save your life. It's all you got. The dime. 10%, 10 minutes, 10 seconds, 10 hours. I don't know. But you got to make a decision. You know, and sometimes as people of faith, you know, we'll say stuff like, well, let me pray on it. Okay. I hope you're praying for maybe your own demise, because maybe while you're praying, your 10 runs out. So sometimes you got to learn how to pray and act. Act and pray. Pray and believe and keep moving.
And the other thing about turning on a dime, because we know we don't live in this world by ourselves.
No, we don't.
So all the time we're making these decisions with other people.
Right.
You know, right. It's like sometimes when things change, you just have to like go with it. It's not like you don't even have time to like, oh, like let's go back and forth on this. No, I don't want this.
There's no debate time.
All right, it's right. It's not time to do that. Now it's like, okay, that's not working for you. I get it. So what can we do now? Well, I wanted to do this, or no, because I'm trying to say, okay, we're done with that. I'm good for saying, well, that's over. That. Exactly. What are we going to do about this situation right now? How are we going to get from point A to point B this other way now that we can't get there the way we had planned on getting there?
Right. Because there's a blockage now. There's a blockage.
Exactly. So can we go over it? Can we go around it? You know, what do we have to do? Can we go in the other direction? It's like you have to be able to do that, because because normally in some situations, somebody's irate. The one who's bringing you to change is usually the kind of the irate person.
Yes.
You don't know you're not irate because you think everything is already set in place. So now in order to, because you have to work with this person, you have to, okay, you cannot get irate too. There's two irate people. Like, why are you changing? Right. That's not even a conversation. We know it has to be done.
Yes.
And so we both of us have to come together and make this happen.
Yes.
So where do we go from here? Absolutely. That's what we have to do. It's no time for that, you know, because people get caught up in, then you don't wasted all that time. Absolutely. And then now you irate. And no one's thinking. When you're like that, you don't think clearly.
You don't.
You know, you have to be thinking clearly to make the decisions, you know, and then whatever you're doing together or whatever you have to do, when you do it, you want it to be a pleasant experience. Because you bring all that, because I wanted this and I didn't plan that, you know, then all that energy and all that toxicity, it becomes horrible. It's not even worth it. Like, it is. And it's a waste of my energy. Waste of stuff. Yeah. I don't have energy to waste on some nonsense. But this is changing something else. It's not a big deal.
Right.
All right. Look, we got to change it. This is what we're going to do.
Right.
You know, especially when there's a lot of different people involved, you know, a lot of moving parts. Yeah. So you have to like the two main parts, you got to get it together. So now you can present it to all the other moving parts. Absolutely. But you can't, because that's not how you present it.
Nope.
You got to present it in a way, because they're already upset because they thought, oh, I thought you were going to do it like this for me. Sorry, you can't do it like that for you. We're going to have to do it like this because this works better for us. Okay. And, you know, apologize for that, but we have no time. We just got to move forward.
Right.
That's it.
Here are the options. Choose it.
Yeah. You know, sometimes there are no options.
Well, that too. Like I said, either straight. Sometimes it's straight. No left, no right. It's straight down the middle. No left, no right.
Yeah. So you got to just take it as no chaser. Okay. You know.
Love it.
That's it.
That's true. Straight, no chaser.
Straight, no chaser.
Love it. Well, I think I am inspired to reimagine my learning how to turn on a dime, because there are days that sometimes I'm pondering stuff, as I did on Wednesday. And there was no reason to ponder. The only ponder I should have had was to ponder that thing into my leg. And the EpiPen, boom. I should have done it like I always tell people, with punch you in your throat. I have to remember next time, just punch yourself in the throat, keep it moving. So I hope that you all gain something from today. I know that I have, because every time we talk, you know, and that's what conversation should do. Conversation should make you think about something, should move your mind to say, when you leave an engagement with someone, you should always have things to think about and say, oh my God, they said, and that made me think. Now, if you leave and you're completely confused, maybe you should stop talking to that person. Just saying. Because sometimes we may start spewing out stuff that's confusing to other people, and then they have to ask themselves, what did they say? Did that make any sense?
What was all that double talk?
Right, what was that about? Yes. So, but let's learn. Let's learn how to keep down the confusion. Let's learn how to turn on a dime, and let's just make it happen.
Go straight.
And go straight. No left, no right. Go straight. So I really pray that you guys have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. I think the weather is going to be beautiful. I don't care where you are in the country right now. I think one way or the other, you're going to get some sunshine. I think this weekend, I don't think there are any storms coming up, and I hope that there aren't. And if they are, be safe wherever you are. But I want you all to have a great, great weekend. Enjoy it. Take some time out for some self-care this weekend. Take some time out to think about if there are some moments or some periods or something in your life that you need how to learn to turn on a dime on. And if you do, then go ahead and start making a plan, having that conversation with yourself. And other than that, just be blessed. Have a wonderful time. Have a wonderful weekend. Steph, your last final words?
Oh, enjoy life. Life is precious. Yes, and it's definitely a gift from God. And be happy, and just tell all the people you love that you love them. Like, like they know it, or they guess it, or whatever. But if you tell them and express it to them, they definitely know. No ifs, ands, and buts about it. Have a great weekend. Enjoy.
Yes. I love you, Steph.
I love you too, honey bunny.
Have a great weekend, everybody.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.